So this video is for Carl, and Carl has been watching me for a long time, and he was asking me, how do I debate with Muslims as far as abrogation in the Quran is concerned? And for those that don't know what I'm talking about, there's a verse in the Quran in Surah 2 verse 106 that says, "None of our revelations do we abrogate or cause to be forgotten, but we substitute something better or similar to it." And the thing with this, and you also asked about how do we debate with Muslims as far as authentic hadith and hadith that they call weak or fabricated. And this is the realm of apologetics. And I hope you are satisfied with my answer, because what I'm going to tell you is that you shouldn't waste your time with this realm of apologetics, because the point for Islam is that there is no central authority. There is no central authority, though the best that a Muslim can do is say, hey, this is what my scholars say. And then you have another group of Muslims that'll say, this is what my scholars say. So there's no central figure in Islam, like unlike Christianity or any other religion. Yes, you have differences in those religions, right? Among Christians, you have the Protestants and you have different, groups or whatever. But at least they have like a central authority figure to follow, even though they might have some differences. With Islam, it's different. They can have major differences in their beliefs. So that's why I say don't suck yourself into the realm of apologetics, because you're going to get sucked into debating with different types of Muslims. Muslims are going to be like, well, this hadith, I find it to be authentic. And some Muslims are going to be like, well, I find this one to be weak. I find this one to be fabricated. Because the truth is, the science of hadith, there's a science behind it in which you can determine what is authentic and what is not, and that differs among how certain scholars interpret it. And that's the sad part about Islam. The sad part is like they can boast about the Quran being preserved for all these years, but they have no idea what the hell the Quran means, because the hadith, they actually explain the Quran. They explain what the verses mean. And many Muslims don't even know this. They just say, your common Muslim is just going to say, well, bro, I just know what's in the Quran, bro, and it's not violence because my imam or my sheikh told me it's not about violence. And here's the thing. So the Muslims, they don't even know what they're following in the first place. That's why so many ignorant Muslims just stay within Islam, because all they can do is pray 5 times a day, give charity, do the 5 pillars. That's all they know. As far as getting deep into the religion, they're going to have to go study with somebody, and their interpretation is going to be different from someone who's in Indonesia. And Saudi Arabia is going to be different. Pakistan is going to be different. It depends on the geographical location, pretty much. And I thought as a Muslim, when I was first Muslim and I wasn't that religious, I used to say things were not authentic. That hadith about the virgins is not authentic. And I used to just talk out of my ass. So you're going to find a lot of Muslims that'll just talk out of their ass as well. They're going to say, no, bro, that's not true. When in reality, it might be true. And I found this to be the case a lot. Like, for example, the verse in the Quran that says, the lovely verse that says, there is no compulsion in religion. Your common Muslims in America are just going to say, see, this means you can't force Islam. But what this tafsir, what this verse, the understanding of this verse actually means, according to its original context, according to Ibn Kathir and the original scholars, is that Islam was made so manifest and clear that there's no way anybody could reject it. Meaning that anybody has to come to Islam whenever they hear the Quran or whenever they hear about Islam. So it doesn't mean, nobody should be forced. Anyways, if you want to play that apologetics game with them a little bit, what I would advise is that if they tell you all the peaceful teachings about Islam, we have peaceful teachings, tell them that Surah 9 came down. It was the last verses of the Quran were in Surah 9. And Surah 9 is pretty much talking about fighting the disbelievers and killing the polytheists. And in historical context, there's a Sahih Hadith in which Muhammad said, I have been commanded to fight the people until they testify that Allah is worthy of worship. Meaning that he was in power. And that's when he started the Sharia law. And that's the ironic thing about Islam. Usually religions, they start off, with specific teachings, and then they go universally abroad and they start, incorporating it to modern day life and everything. With Islam, it's a little different. It started off with, we worship God, we worship Allah, and they didn't even have the 5 daily prayers or anything like that. And you could stand and remember Allah while you were drunk and everything. And then abrogation came down, obviously. It's that verse that we talked about earlier. And then things started to get more specific, and now you weren't allowed to drink alcohol and blah, 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 blah. So what it boils down to is that the Sharia came last. Now they have all these strict rules. Now, when you live in an Islamic state, we're going to stone the adulterer. We're going to cut the hand of the thief. We're going to, lash you if you drink alcohol. And that's the Islam that Muhammad wanted to bring before he died. And, it's just as simple as that. So the point should be to show Muslims how immoral the teachings of Islam are, instead of trying to point out whether it's a right or wrong or a contradiction in the Quran. And I see many, apologists fall into this error. They try to point out this verse and say, oh, look, 2:106, abrogation. You see, that's a contradiction. That means Allah can change what he wants. Well, Muslims admit this. Muslims admit Allah is an asshole and he can change whatever he wants. So the point is to show them the last parts of Islam. What are the last parts? Because most Muslims, they'll argue about the early days of Islam. Oh, we're peaceful, we don't force religion and everything. But when Muhammad migrated to Medina, that's where all the rules came in. That's where all the violent surahs came in, when they got into power. So I would say, don't even get into that, because they're going to bring their scholars and they're going to say, well, this means this. My scholar said it means this. And my scholar, we're peaceful. And that's where the big dispute is at. And that's why you have so many people that don't think Muslims are telling the truth. Because you have, and I give the scholars that limelight. I think they should be able to reform their faith however they want. They can make it more peaceful, and they should stand up. I think they should stand up and really talk against the violent beliefs, but they have this thing with them that they don't want to condemn their Muslim brother for whatever reason, which is kind of dumb. Because all of them, even the peaceful Muslims, they all agree on politics. They all agree with the issue of Palestine and so forth, and it's really stupid. So yeah, I don't think I have anything else to say, but usually when you debate on revelation, they're going to just beat you down with experience. So don't even debate. Yes, you can know, Sahih Muslim and Sahih al-Bukhari. These are the two most authentic books after the Quran. Yes, if you find a hadith in Sahih Muslim and Sahih al-Bukhari, you know it's authentic. And there are other, websites. I think Ex-Muslim gave you a website in one of the comments. He said sunnah.com. And you can go to islamqa.com to see like the Saudi Arabia Wahhabi version. The Wahhabi version of Islam is like the strict one, the one we're going to take literally. And then you have the, metaphorical Islam, which is like the Sufi Islam, the softer version of Islam. But I would say none of these interpretations are peaceful, because even Sufis believe in stoning. They believe in violent things as well. So, yeah. Nothing else. Nothing else. I would say just enjoy your life, man. Enjoy your life and play video games and watch anime and just chill, man. Don't even debate with the Muslims. Just point out the fucking immoral teachings, and that's all you got to do. You did your job. If they say it's not authentic, and they say, oh, that's fabricated or whatever, just show them where you got it from and ask them, why is it there in the first place if it's not authentic, And are you sure that your version of Islam is correct? Challenge them that way and just show them everything.